Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into a PDF called 74 Ways to Make Money Online. And right, it's pretty amazing how the internet is opened up just endless possibilities for making money outside of a normal job. So I'm really excited to kind of look through this with you, see what we find. I got to admit, some of these ideas are pretty surprising. Did you know people are making good money selling dried flowers online or getting paid to test out new apps? I had no idea. So to help us break down all 74 ways, we've got our expert here ready to go. What were your first impressions when you saw how the PDF organized everything?
I thought it was really interesting how they broke down all 74 ideas into 3 main categories.
Right.
It's helpful to see the bigger picture of online business that way. So they have creative ideas, which is like artists and people who create content and community builders. Then there's selling your services, basically using your skills to make money. And then the last category is e-commerce ideas, which is all about selling stuff online.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a closer look at each of those. Starting with creative ideas. I'm really drawn to the ones that seem pretty easy to start, even if you don't have a lot of experience, like starting a YouTube channel. The PDF breaks it down into really simple steps. Start small, find your niche, use whatever equipment you have, and it's only a 1-dot difficulty, which means it's pretty straightforward. And get this, it's basically free to start. Of course, you have to put in the work to make it successful, but it's pretty cool that it's so easy to get started. What do you think?
Well, YouTube is a great example of how big the creator economy is getting. It's all about people using their skills to build an audience and make money, without needing a big company to help them. It's about creating something unique, something valuable that really connects with a certain group of people, whether it's entertaining or educational, or even just sharing your everyday life.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just video. Podcasting is another great example of the creator economy. And just like YouTube, it can be about anything: true crime, history, self-improvement, anything you can think of. The PDF says the podcasting is already worth over $1 billion. And it doesn't cost much to get started, anywhere from free to maybe...
Be a creator.
Now, this next one really got my eye. Creating and selling fonts. I never would have thought about selling fonts. But it makes sense when you think about how important it is for businesses to have a unique look. This one is a 3-dot difficulty, though. So you probably need some design skills and software. It costs about $100 to get started, which isn't bad considering you can keep selling the fonts over and over. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think the font example is a great reminder that it's really important to find those niche markets and to really understand the needs of a specific group of people. In today's world, businesses really want to have a strong visual identity, and custom fonts can be a big part of that. It just shows that. Sometimes the most unexpected ideas can be really profitable.
Totally. It's all about finding those hidden opportunities where you can offer something that's truly unique and valuable. Okay, let's move on from the purely creative stuff. And dive into selling your services. What really stood out to you in this category?
I think it's really cool how this category taps into the growing need for specialized knowledge and skills. People are more and more willing to pay for services that can help them reach their goals or overcome challenges they might be facing.
You're absolutely right. It's like the whole world is becoming one giant place to share skills and solve problems. One example that caught my attention is online tutoring. The PDF says the online tutoring market is booming, growing by more than 16% every year. And it makes sense, because whether you're great at math or languages or history, there's always someone out there who could learn from you. It's rated as a 2-dot difficulty, so you need to know your stuff. But the startup cost is basically nothing, just your time, and maybe some online tools. Then there's proofreading and editing. With so much content being created online these days, people with these skills are in high demand. The PDF says it's good to build a portfolio to show off your editing skills, and then you can target online publications or content mills or even freelance platforms like Upwork. They see it's a 3-dot difficulty, so you need a good eye for detail and a strong understanding of grammar. But the best part is, there are practically no startup costs. But here's one that I thought was especially interesting: becoming a career consultant. In today's job market, people need all the help they can get. So if you're good at writing resumes and cover letters, and you have good interview tips, it can really help people navigate that whole process. The PDF suggests creating a website to show off your services and using video conferencing tools like Zoom to connect with clients. The difficulty level is a 2. And the startup cost is, you guessed it, free. What I'm seeing is that a lot of these service-based businesses really depend on strong communication skills and being good with people. It's not just about having the knowledge. It's about explaining that knowledge well and building trust with clients. Do you agree?
Definitely. In the online world, where you don't meet people face-to-face as often, it's even more important to build relationships and show that you're trustworthy. It's not just about showing your expertise. It's also about making people feel like they understand you.
Now I'm curious, what about you listening in? Which of these service-based ideas sounds interesting to you? Maybe using skills you already have. Have you ever tried making money online by offering your expertise? Okay, let's switch gears and explore e-commerce ideas. This is where we get into the details of selling stuff online.
Yeah.
What amazes me is the sheer variety of things people are selling online. Everything from handmade jewelry to online courses to, yep, you guessed it, dried flowers. What are some of the biggest trends you've noticed in e-commerce?
One of the biggest trends is definitely the focus on niche markets. So instead of trying to sell to everyone, successful online businesses often focus on a very specific group of people with unique needs and interests.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's all about standing out from the crowd and offering something truly special. A great example of this is reselling thrift store finds. The PDF highlights platforms like Depop, where people are curating and selling unique secondhand clothing. It's a cool mix of sustainability, fashion, and entrepreneurship. It's only a $1 difficulty, so it's pretty easy to get started. And the startup costs can be anywhere from $100 to $500, depending on how much inventory you start with. Then there's the classic route of selling homemade goods, like ceramics, candles, knitwear, or even those fancy sourdough bread bowls that everyone loves. There's definitely a market for handcrafted items online. The PDF mentions platforms like Etsy, but they also encourage creators to eventually open their own online stores. That way you have more control and potentially make more money. This one is a 2 difficulty, so you need to be good at making things, and you need to know how to market your products. Startup costs are estimated to be between $100 and $500. And here comes that surprising one again, selling dried flowers. Apparently there's a growing demand for them. With high markups and the advantage that they don't expire, the PDF suggests buying flowers in bulk. And setting up an online store to showcase your arrangements, it's a 1 difficulty, so even beginners can try it. And the estimated startup costs are between $100 and $500. Depending on where you get your flowers and how you package them. I gotta admit, the dried flower idea is pretty intriguing. It seems like a creative and potentially lucrative niche market. Why do you think this specific product is becoming so popular?
Well, I think it has to do with a few different trends, like people wanting unique and personal decorations for their homes, and the growing interest in sustainability and natural things. Plus, dried flowers look really beautiful, and they can last for years if you take care of them.
That's a great point. It's more than just the product itself. It's about the feelings and values it represents. Now let's look at the digital side of e-commerce, where you sell products that don't need to be physically shipped. The PDF highlights digital products like ebooks, online courses, templates, design assets, and even things like stock photos and music. Creating and selling digital products is listed as a 2 difficulty, so you might need some technical skills or software knowledge. But the great thing is, the startup costs are super low, often just the cost of your time and the software you use. What do you see as some of the advantages and challenges of selling digital products compared to selling physical products?
Well, one of the biggest advantages is scalability. Once you make a digital product, you can sell it again and again without having to worry about manufacturing or storage or shipping costs. It's a great way to generate passive income.
That's a huge plus. But there must be some downsides too, right?
Of course. One challenge is making your products stand out in a crowded marketplace. With so many digital products available, it can be tough to differentiate yourself and attract customers. Another challenge is piracy. Protecting your work and stopping people from sharing it illegally can be tricky online.
Those are definitely important things to think about. It sounds like being successful with digital products requires not only creating high-quality content, but also knowing how to market it and how to keep it secure. Before we move on to the last category, which is all about techie ideas, I'd love to hear from you listening. If you could start an online business tomorrow, what would it be? What skills or passions or unique ideas are you excited about? Hold on to those thoughts, because next we'll be exploring the world of app development, coding, and even the intriguing world of beta testing. Stay tuned. All right, so let's jump into the techie ideas from the PDF. This is where things get a little more technical. But, I was surprised to see that some of these tech-focused ideas aren't as complicated as they sound. Like beta testing apps, basically. Companies need real people to test out their apps before they launch, to find any problems and give feedback. The PDF lists it as a 2 difficulty, so you don't need to be a coding whiz. And the best part is, you get paid to try out new apps. And the startup cost, nothing. Another interesting one is offering technical support, like remote tech support for people or businesses who maybe don't have their own IT department. The PDF says it's super important to build trust and a good reputation if you want to do this. Maybe start out on a platform like Upwork. Difficulty level is 2 dots, and the startup cost is also free. So if you're good at solving tech problems, this could be a great option. Now, for those who are ready to really dive into the world of coding, developing apps is a huge market. I mean, the app market is supposed to be worth over $800 billion this year. That's insane. But the difficulty level is 4 dots, so it's definitely not easy. And the startup cost is technically free, but only if you already have the coding skills and software. If you're looking for the next big thing in software, the PDF talks about SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. It's all about creating and selling software solutions online. And there's a huge demand for developers in this field. Difficulty level, 3 dots. Startup cost, again, free if you know how to code. What are your thoughts on how technology has made it easier for people to become entrepreneurs? Seems like anyone with an internet connection and some skills can potentially build a successful business these days.
It really is amazing. You don't need a ton of money or a physical store anymore. To start a tech business, all you need is the right skills, a good idea, and the motivation to make it happen. We're seeing a real shift in power from big institutions to individuals.
I totally agree. And I think it's really inspiring that this category emphasizes how important it is to keep learning and developing new skills. If you're willing to put in the time to learn things like coding, the possibilities are pretty much endless. So as we wrap up our deep dive into 74 ways to make money online, I want to leave you with this thought. We've explored a ton of different opportunities, from creative stuff to more technical ventures. We talked about the steps involved, the potential earnings, and the challenges you might face. But in the end, the biggest takeaway is this: the online world is full of possibilities. It's up to you to find what fits your skills, your passions, and your goals. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next big online success story. We're rooting for you. All right, so let's wrap up our look at 74 ways to make money online with the last category, techie ideas. This is where the PDF gets into using your digital skills to make money. And I thought it was kind of cool how some of these tech-focused things aren't as scary as they might seem at first. Take beta testing apps, for example.
Yeah.
Companies need real people to try out their apps before they go live, to make sure there aren't any bugs, and to get feedback. The PDF says it's a 2-dot difficulty, so you don't need to be a coding expert or anything. And the best part, you get paid to try out new apps before anyone else. No startup cost either. Totally free. Another interesting one is offering technical support, like being a remote tech support person for people or businesses who maybe don't have their own IT person. The PDF says it's really important to build trust and a good reputation for this one. Maybe start on a platform like Upwork. It's a 2-dot difficulty and no startup cost. So if you're a tech-savvy problem solver, this could be a good fit. Now, if you're ready to really get into coding, developing apps is a huge market right now. Did you know that the app market is projected to be worth over $800 billion this year? That's crazy. It's a 4-dot difficulty, though, so it's definitely not a walk in the park. The startup cost is technically free. But that's assuming you already have the coding skills and the software. And if you're looking for the next big thing in software, the PDF talks about SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service, basically all about creating and selling software online. And the demand for developers is going through the roof. 3-dot difficulty for this one. And again, the startup cost is free if you have the coding skills. It's amazing how technology has made it so much easier for people to start their own businesses, don't you think? It seems like anyone with an internet connection and some skills can potentially create a successful business.
Oh, absolutely. It's really incredible how much things have changed. You don't need a ton of money to get started anymore, or even a physical storefront. All you really need is the right skills, a good idea, and the willingness to put in the work. We're seeing a real shift in power from big companies and institutions to individuals.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's super inspiring to see that so many of these tech-focused ideas really highlight the importance of constantly learning and developing new skills. If you're willing to invest the time and effort to learn things like coding, there are so many doors that can open for you. So as we wrap up our deep dive into these 74 ways to make money online, I want to leave you with this. The internet is a vast and ever-changing landscape, full of possibilities. And it's up to each of us to find what speaks to our own unique skills and our passions and our goals. We've explored a ton of different options today, from creative pursuits to technical ventures. We've talked about the steps involved, the potential for earning money, and some of the challenges you might face along the way. But ultimately, the most important thing to remember is this. The online world is full of opportunities. It's just waiting for you to discover them. So keep exploring, keep learning. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next big online success story. We're cheering you on every step of the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.